JJ, what am I doing here?
Woof! Right in there with that alert. Thank you so much to the Dice Den for this raid, and welcome to Roll Up, the last of the season, the show in which Encounter Roleplay rolls up some characters on a Friday, and it's chill. We've looked at Call of Cthulhu, we've dived into Warhammer, we've looked at making dragons, but today we're going to space. And who better to go into space with me than a wonderful Pruitt, who will both boldly go and use the Force.
Whew, man, you're mixing genres there. You're going to piss some people off if you do that. But yes, I am here for part 2. I can't wait. I love it. I love this so much. I'm wearing my Planetary Society shirt. If you're not a member, you should be. Good things are happening. But yes, I'm very excited to be here and actually roll up a character here. I think I've got a solid concept, and we'll see how it all turns out.
Good stuff. And before we do get to that, I do want to thank and shout out our sponsors here on Encounter Roleplay. That is the wonderful Tabletop Loot, who let us give away dice every day, multiple times a day, including right after the show. So make sure you stay and watch all the way to the end. Also want to say thank you to Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice, that we use for many, many shows. We're not going to use it today. I think we're going to use real dice because I really like that sound of rolling dice. And how better to use your own Tabletop Loot dice. Sound effects. For other tabletop accessories, why not check out Whaling Games, where you can get up to 20% off the regular retail price. I've had a look. They have some really cool stuff on there. And if you're based in the UK, so are they. So they have some really cool shipping deals for you too. Just a little heads up. Just a cool thing that I noticed. So here we are. Back with Mage Hand Press's wonderful Dark Matter. We played a 2-shot using the original Kickstarter materials. We now have the alpha PDF, which you can pick up right now on Drive-Thru RPG. That's what it's called, not Drive-Thru Roleplay. That's just a made-up thing. Putting the link in chat so you can check it out. It's one of those days for me today. I don't know quite where my head is at, but it is so ready. I've been looking over this PDF and just so excited.
Oh yes, my mind is swimming right now. I've been it's been a deluge on my brain after working 8 hours at the hospital and immediately getting home and hopping on here. So I will be as scatterbrained as ever today. But I'm locked in on this concept. It's something I mentioned last week, and we'll see how it turns out. So don't feel bad.
I think
just let it fly.
I think the thing about it is there's just so much content that comes to you in this PDF. And I thought after last session, I kind of knew what I was going to make. And then I was looking through today, and there's all these cool spellcasters. You've been looking, I think, at the monk, and there's fighter options as well. And not only are you getting a heap of classes, subclasses, but there's a ton of feats in there, broken up into racial feats, faction feats, class feats, and all the new spells. But why don't we start with where your head's at and what you've been looking at?
I've been looking at the Abia Ra, the kind of the Egyptian sun worshipping kind of bird people, but I want to do that, and I'm going to do the way of gravity, because where does gravity come but from the sun? And what do I worship? I worship the sun. So to me, it's just like a match made in heaven, which is where the sun is in the heavens. So it's all just shit goes deep, yo. You know what I mean? So
it does. It goes way deep.
But
and we talked a lot about the Abia Ra last time as well. I think looking at how they do have this grand ideology, which you could relate back to being druidic. There's kind of the Egyptian influences in there.
Oh yeah.
And again, it specifies within the law, these are not descendants of humans in any way, even though they are human from the neck down in terms of form.
Yeah, no. I
think just wait till the bards get to the stars. That won't be true for too long.
Well, they may not be descendant from human, but their children's children will probably be descendant from humans, at least in some part, as soon as the bards show up. Because in space, no one can hear you flirt. That's not true.
That's not true. We proved that a lot of people can hear you fly, especially if you leave your comms on.
Yeah,
and you're getting notes from your
everyone
space
on
team.
your party will hear you flirt and give you tips. A lot of tips will be given that day. Anyway, moving on. The biggest thing I found with this book, looking at all this info, is I just had to like hang on to that concept because, like you said, there's a lot in here, and it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, but I could make this. Oh, but that one barbarian thing is pretty. You're the juggernaut, bitch. You know, like, oh, yeah. I mean, there's just like a lot of options here, and of course, you got the Space Marine, which I believe Bast played during our 2-shot.
Yeah.
He played like a Vect Space Marine,
and
who doesn't love a good Space Marine? But you know, we're not playing 40K, but I do love the influence and the reference, and it's a lot of fun.
A couple of things to mention that I kind of forgot to bring up last time. Firstly, this isn't just a player's handbook. There is stuff in here for the DMs. There's a lot of setting information. There's all the magic items. There's the monsters. This really has everything you need to pick up and go and deep dive into space. And going towards what we're talking about today and rolling out characters, there are 3 new skills which are used in this setting, as well as in other settings in the book. It says as much. And those are data, piloting, and I had this technology. There we go. So data is what you will use to attempt to hack and deep dive into databases. Piloting, of course, to steer the ships. And technology, much like a history, arcana, religion, is a field of study. It's a field of understanding, and I imagine would also be used to attempt to mend constructs and similar things in the way that you would use medicine to attempt to understand the damage done to a biological body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got the full new class, the Gadgeteer, in here, which reading through that is like, this is your artificer, right? I mean, this is where you get all the fun stuff. It's your sentinel or your engineer from Mass Effect. You can have some drones following you around. You can create like hard light objects like your fucking Green Lantern or something. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Like reading through that, again, I was tempted, but I was like, you know what? I promised the people a bird monk, and I'm going to give them a bird monk. So, yeah.
So I think this is a good time to grab 46 and roll some stats. How does that sound? Does everyone in the chat got their 46 to hand?
Yeah, let's do it. You sure you don't want to take it old school and do 3d6 in a row?
3d6. No, all right, yeah, I'm down to do that.
I'm kidding. Now we're doing 46. Are we doing 46 drop the lowest?
46 drop the lowest.
6 times? Or 7 times drop the lowest?
6 times.
Okay.
We don't have all day for it.
It's just one extra. Okay, no. I am not going to do anything because when you do this on your first roll, you know it's going to be a special day. First roll is an 18.
All right, I'm writing these down in chat so people can see. I rolled a 10. I got a 6, 2 2s, and a 1, and I dropped the 1. I just love the sound of dice. There's just something joyous about it. I got a 12. What did you get?
13 on my second roll. And I'm not using my tiny dice because I know Jim Davis would hop in the chat and start calling bullshit. Because my tiny dice are known for their amazing characters that they have over the years.
Right. Let's see. 11, 14 for me.
12 on my third roll.
12? Okay, so that is an 18, 13, and 12 for Pruitt so far, a 10, 12, and a 14 for me. Kind of working my way up, I think.
Wow.
Ooh, okay.
This character's going to be bad.
I'm rolling well. Yeah, you've got like a monk with these stats. Yes, please. What did you get?
I just rolled a 14.
Very nice. I rolled a 12. I rolled 2 5s and a 2. And I dropped my 1. I need to get rid of this dice that keeps rolling 1s.
Okay,
6.
here we go. Finally got brought back down to earth, which the way of gravity should. There's a 10.
That's still not bad. That is still distinctly average. In the 5e system, you gotta remember a commoner is just straight 10s all the way down.
Yeah.
That's what a regular person has. Right, last roll for me.
End on a good note. All right. Ended with a 12.
And I ended up with an 11. So your final stats, according to me, are 18, 13, 12, 14, 10, and 11. My final stats are 10, 12, 14, 12, 11, 11. Popping those in chat right now.
My last stat was a
And
12, not an 11, just so you know.
Oh, my
No worries.
bad. Amendment.
All good.
For its last stat was a 12, not an 11. It does make a difference. Because in 5e,
Well,
of course,
that's a
it is
+1.
the evens that give you those modifiers, not the odds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we will be posting the finished character sheets up on the Encounter Roleplay website. It might take me a few days to get these up. I have a busy weekend ahead, but they will be there for you to check out. And thank you very much again to Mage Hand Press for letting us do this, because this is a lot of fun. So how do you normally go about building a monk? Because I know you like your monks. This is no secret.
Well, normally when I go about building my monk, I try to find a concept within it before, like, I would pick the subclass and everything. So I'm actually kind of going about it a little bit different than my normal. But I think that like we already discussed, the whole lore and mythos behind this race and this subclass, the way of gravity, it just works too well together. I mean, I worship the sun and this is gravity, so hey, it just kind of syncs. So I mean, I like it. And also it would depend on my rolls. Like, if I was like, I really want to build a monk, and then I make rolls where it's like I got one good stat and nothing else, I'm going to change that. I'm not going to play a monk, because you need at least 2, preferably 3, because you obviously want that dex and wisdom, but you want a decent con. And so, that's
and I think that's the thing about monks as well, is they really are a tri-stat class, and there aren't many, if any, other classes that suffer in the same way if they can't get 3 good rolls. But you did well, so I think that your monk is well on his way.
Oh, he's going to be just fine. Yeah, I mean, I would think maybe like paladin, still just a little bit, just because you want a decent charisma on top of having a good strength.
I think druids as well.
Well, druids can be. That's the thing, is a druid, you can have decent stats, or you can just have the one good wisdom and become a shifter, and then who gives a shit about your physical stats?
Those are true, because then they just go away.
Yeah, you just turn into big bags of hit points that do damage. So it kind of depends. But yes, monk is still a little bit of what's called the attribute dependent classes. They're a little mad still, but it's at least now it's really just like, as long as you have a decent dex and wisdom, you're probably going to be okay. And in this case, like you said, I got some pretty damn good stats. So wisdom is 2 plus 1 to dex. Well, now here's the question: how min-maxy do I want to make this? Because I could bump one of these 12 to a 14. Well, again, this all depends. I got pretty decent rolls, so I would be. I think I'm gonna be okay with putting my wisdom. Screw it. I'm just gonna do it all out. So wisdom, I'm gonna do a 14, so that bumps that to a 16 with my +2, and I'm gonna obviously put the 18 in dex to make that a 19 with the +1 from the stats.
And so, chat note, Prit and I agreed in advance we're going to roll up to level 3. Often on Roll Up, we've only done like our first level character, but in D&D, generally, you don't get that subclass feature and fun until at least level 2, if not level 3. So that's why we're going to go all the way up to 3. So there are a few additions, but it shouldn't affect our basic rolled stats, because you don't get ability score increases until later.
See, now part of me wants to switch this around and put my 14 in con, but that's okay. It's fine. I'm going to put my 13 in con and be okay with a +1. But yeah, I'm going to do a 10 in strength, because, I need a decent strength. It's average. There's no detriment to it.
I think, I'm just looking at the list of classes and subclasses. I think I'm going to make a witch. I think I'm going to make a Luna Witch. Witch is a really cool subclass that you can get from Mage Hand Press, and they've built a Luna Witch within the Dark Matter expansion, and I'm just about that. I really wanted to be a caster, and I love the idea of being a Space Witch.
Being a Space Witch? Are you sure just being a Lunar Witch isn't just a phase?
Well, you don't want to see my dark side.
All right. So yeah, my final stats are strength 10, dexterity 19, con 13, intelligence 12, wisdom 16, charisma 12. And I'll have to say that's a pretty solid build, if I do say so myself.
Which is a base class? Is that a base class from what? That's not an official base class, correct? They expanded and given us witches. Did I miss that? You can find it on our Patreon or drive through update. I see.
They're just talking about like witches, a base class on their website, much like the Channeler or the Gunslinger.
The Gunslinger. The Gunslinger, by the way, for any setting, go and check it out. It's one of the finest gunslingers I've come across. I think the Alchemist as well.
Yeah, Alchemist was fun. I had a blast with the Gunslinger during the 2-shot. It was a lot of fun. There's some interesting options on whether like how you want to do it. If you want to be the Dirty Harry, or if you want to be the Doc Holliday, you can kind of do it either way.
And with Dark Matter, you get the subclass Space Cowboy. What is not to love about that?
Well, it depends on how well Netflix does with the live action adaptation. We'll see.
And of course, when I played before, I played Trinity, who was a cleric of the sun above. So again, we're feeling the heavy sun influence there. And I used one of the custom backgrounds that comes with Dark Matter, which is the ship's doctor background. But we'll get to backgrounds when we get there. How are you doing in assigning those stats?
Like I said, I've already assigned my stats. And but here's the thing: is I usually, after I pick my class and my race, I usually go straight to background. Because before I start picking skills and stuff, you want to have those set skills in place, right? So
I agree.
I think I'm going to go actually with exile, because I like the idea of an exiled kind of gravity monk. Maybe he just, I don't know, maybe he just got a little bit too full of himself. Master didn't like it and kicked him out of his dojo. Maybe went a little Ronin. Yeah, go a little. I like the idea of going a little Ronin. You know.
I like that idea too. Why don't you read us out the features and details of the exile while I quickly assign my stats as my witch?
Yeah, go for it. I also like it because it's good. Like the skill proficiencies you get with exile is deception and survival. So that's a lot of fun. That's right in my wheelhouse for the type of monk I like to play. Because I generally, when making a character, you always want to have at least one of the social stats. You want to have one social. This is the way I do it. You want to have at least one social and one kind of exploration, whether it be perception, nature, or survival, because you want to have something to do other than punch. It just gives you a little bit more breadth of ability as a character. And so I like the fact that in my background I have survival and deception. So I got that covered. And then everything else can be just badass monkitude, which is probably going to be acrobatics, stealth, and I can't remember. I need to pull up D&D Beyond for the monk-based stuff. Can't find my book. This is how dependent I've become on D&D Beyond, which is not a bad thing.
No, it's a very handy tool, and plenty of space on there to add all of these custom details as well. It's very easy to do, and the great thing is because Mage Hand Press have stuck so closely to a D&D classic formula, to a Wizards of the Coast formula, it's really easy just to slot in the new details. You're not having to add wacky modifiers and crazy new rules, because it all matches up completely and fully with the 5e formatting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tweeter Rebecca.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go, I'm going to probably choose acrobatics and insight, actually, because I have a decent dex. So a +4 to stealth, just on a base, that's good. I'm good with that.
So I have a question. With your skill proficiencies, do you prefer to bump up something you're already good at, or do you prefer to use it to bump up the thing that you're weak at, but you want to add, like, my character might not be generally intelligent, but they've got a background in technology. So even if their general score is -1, for example, to intelligence, but they know stuff about technology. I think technology's the intellect skill. And so with proficiency, that'll go up to a +1, and then obviously over time that'll keep increasing as your proficiency score goes up. So is that a way you do it, or do you do a mix of both, or?
Oh, no. I mean, having an insane modifier like in all your skills, yeah, sure, that's great. But you're like, your skill set is an inch wide and a mile deep. I like a little bit more of a mix. So especially with monks, a lot of times, especially if I don't have a good strength, I don't mind taking both acrobatics and athletics. Because, and some people might be like, well, why? Well, there's things to do with athletics, like climbing or,
Grappling.
anything else. Grappling, if you want to try to grapple someone, just to like catch them off guard because they don't expect you to do that. At least you're decent at it. I mean, obviously, escaping a grapple, you're going to use your acrobatics. But I do like having, if you have something that's you're a little weak at, well, get a proficiency in it. You made up for that natural lack of talent with hard work and study. So yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same. I just try and build my characters, and every mechanical step to me helps build their story. So everything kind of tells me a little bit more about them. And even if you're min-maxing, you can still do that. It still tells you a story of how devoted they are to, training as hard as they can if it's a monk, for example, finding the right masters, speaking to the right people, finding the right secrets. And that's fine. That's a great and valid story. And then you've got maybe a monk who isn't ideally built mechanically. You didn't min-max it because you decided that you wanted them to have been raised maybe on a cargo ship, and it was a trading vessel. And so they've developed more social skills, and they've developed wider interests beyond purely their monk training, maybe. And I find it just all kind of helps add little things, and you get to know your character better because it's not, I don't think it's ever, here's your adventurer, they've just popped into existence. Maybe if you're doing a dungeon crawl, but generally if you're going into a campaign that's more than one session, to give yourself a little flavor, a little hook into it, and it's not just numbers on a sheet. Yeah. I put a lot of thought into my stuff, and I generally build characters backwards. I'll go and look at backgrounds first, then I'll look at classes and maybe at races, and kind of hop back and forth until I figure out what I'm making. Which isn't the best when you're trying to do a show like Roll Up where you're sharing a process.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm right there with you. I've just made so many monks. I'm pretty much done. And so,
boom.
Yeah. So yeah, my skill set right now, because the Aviara, they get religion as a skill. Okay. From the racial features. What I do like though is the weapons training that they get. Now, here's the thing. I want to look at martial arts, strikes, and monk weapons. I would talk to my DM about whether or not they would allow the Aviara weapons as monk weapons. I know some people wouldn't.
Okay, so I'll say that in this situation, I'm your DM.
Yeah.
All right, tell me, give me a pitch. How do you pitch to a DM your story, your flavor?
My story, my flavor. Well, this guy, he's good in acrobatics. He's good in deception. He's good in insight. He's got a little religion. What good Aviara doesn't, but he's got survival. I like the fact that he's in exile. He's had to live on his own for a bit. He learned the tools that he needs to survive, and then was sent out into the world. So, I mean, he would probably use or have. I like the idea of him having a scimitar and a whip. Because who doesn't love having a little 5-foot reach on your attacks?
I think the whip is a really underutilized weapon that is already in the base game. I think the thing about it is it lacks damage, and if you don't think about it creatively, it's why would you choose that when you can have a whacking great sword? But you get that 5 foot of reach. You can use it to pull things to you. You can Indiana Jones swing across things. And in space, when you've got like anti-gravity and all of these things, I think a whip is even more useful. It's a real good portable 10 feet of rope, essentially, or 5 feet of rope, I guess.
I completely agree, especially when you couple that with the Way of Gravity's first ability at 3rd level. You get subjective gravity. Uh-oh. Zinth, what you got there? Got a little bit of donation there.
Yeah, thank you so much for those bits. Zinth says, came to watch Pruitt roll up using one of my favorites sci-fi add-ons for 5e. First time here. Welcome! I'm glad you could join us on this fine Friday. If you stay until the end, there's a chance to win some tabletop loot dice. Pruitt is in the middle of telling us his monk's backstory and trying to sell me on the idea of using his Avia Ra weapons as monk weapons.
So yeah, I mean, just the idea of like of getting that extra 5 feet of movement or extra 5 feet of reach to pull people to you, or coupling it with subjective gravity, which I'll just kind of read through a little bit of this description because it's pretty cool. Because this is some sci-fi shit where you choose when you choose this on your turn, you can use half your movement to choose a solid surface such as a wall or a ceiling within 10 feet of you to act as the ground for your subjective gravity. You are pulled down to this surface as if by gravity and fall to it if you are too far away from it. Your subjective gravity follows this surface along any smooth contours but stops at any corners that turn 90 degrees or more. Only you and objects carried by you are influenced by your subjective gravity. So you basically get the 9th level monk ability in a very limited way at 3rd level. Being able to run on surfaces, but to me though, as long as if it's a long hallway, you stay on the ceiling until you're done. Whereas the 9th level ability, you have to be on a vertical, like you have to be vertical again at the end of it. So I can imagine like once you got to 9th level with a Way of Gravity monk, you are starting to do some of the craziest shit you could possibly we're talking Matrix, running up walls.
Yeah, I was thinking like, Matrix.
The Matrix or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on steroids. I mean, like that's one thing when I read that first ability, like sometimes I have to read things like twice because my brain won't accept it. And I'm like, wait a minute, but when does it end? And it's like, well, it only ends if it turns 90 degrees or more. Which we all know in the future, there are no 90 degrees. Everything is a slow bend or a slow, like a river, always flow.
Except for Borg Cube, you might have some issues then.
Well, you might have some issues. That is true. But I think 2001: A Space Odyssey had an effect on the design of things.
Yeah, I think so.
You see a lot of like curved like hallways and tunnels, things like that.
I think as well, what it is the juxtaposition of something so constructed, so man-made, and making it organic.
Yeah.
Again, within this huge space, and I think that's informed a lot of design. And you see ships as well. I think was it the Andromeda ship that was actually a living ship? I'm trying to remember my sci-fi. There have been a few different ships that are actually, organic birthed constructs.
Yeah, I'm not positive on Andromeda because I didn't watch that one, but I know on Farscape, Moira.
Farscape, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Farscape.
And John, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
It's a little hokey sometimes, but I enjoyed Farscape. I love the puppets.
I like
the puppet work on the what's his name? The Emperor. The deposed emperor.
I hate myself. Rigel
the 14th or 17th or whatever. Yeah, he's like my favorite. He's my favorite character. I want to make a character based on him so bad. Just like the worst, just Ponzi like entitled deposed royalty member, like with all these normies, these plebeians.
You know what? I think I'm gonna do that right now.
You don't know if he's actually like full of shit or not until later on. It's like, oh no, this is real.
I think we should do that. If we get time, once we finish this monk, we'll throw together a Rigel super fast. Maybe use the gnome as a base race for him.
Oh yeah.
I think that's probably an appropriate base. Or halfling. Halfling
Yeah.
luck for Rigel would be really good.
I mean, I would say if you just wanted to
A
do
kobold?
a kobold or a goblin, like I think goblin is probably the closest. I mean, he's very cowardly, and you need to give him like a hover around. A hover around.
That'd be what, Tensor's floating disc, just permanently. I think there is a magic item. Anyway, we've dived far away from our monk. So what are the Avia Ras?
This is what I'm saying though.
Racial.
This is you have enough options that this can happen very easily. And
just so quickly, and you don't have to make anything up. It's all here. You just combine things that you like. And it's the same rule set that you've been playing every time you've sat down and played Dungeons & Dragons 5e. So, what are the Avia Ra racial weapons?
Okay, Avia racial weapons are the Sun Staff, which I need to look up, but I'm pretty sure it's just a staff.
The Sun Staff, I believe, works like the gold laser staffs. I can't remember what they're called. But it's like one of those staffs, so it kind of opens up and it shoots out a blast.
Oh.
And then generally works as a quarterstaff as well, I think. Because I believe Trinity had one of those.
I might have to look that up. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. And
we can take a quick look at the weapons.
By the way, I did start watching Stargate SG-1 this week. So.
Oh, did you? Have you never seen it before?
I'd never actually watched the show before. It's pretty good. I will say this: it's a little weird watching MacGyver shoot guns. Harold Dean Anderson, to me, he's always MacGyver and he hates guns. And so seeing him with a machine gun is weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Okay, so the simple blasters are on page, I think, 108 physical pages, but it's 118 in PDF pages. The Avia Ra Sun Staff costs 150 gold pieces, is 2d6 radiant damage, is a blaster with a range of 60/180, is special and two-handed. So it is a blasting staff. I'm just seeing if it's also counted in a list for... Because I would imagine that you could still use it as a quarterstaff. Like, you just turn it on end and just trip him up or boop him on the head.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, that's some delicate technology, probably. So
true.
That would be interesting to see what would happen if you rolled a 1 on that.
Yeah, you could have some fun critical fumbles with it. Do you play with critical fumbles?
Under special weapons, it does say this weapon can also be used as a quarterstaff. So there you go.
Perfect.
So actually, no. In that case, I would have an Avia Ra Sun Staff, which quarterstaff is a monk weapon, so there's no question there. But then he would also have a whip on his belt, and I think that's probably
I really like this
from his master, because I see the Avia Ra is a little bit not quite fanatic, but very close. So almost like a
Jedi Order, or
well, he flagellates himself a little bit with it sometimes.
Oh, okay, we're going dark in space. I like it.
Yeah, come on, you got to get dark with this shit. I mean, he's an exile after all. You know, he'd probably feel a little.
This is true. He is an yeah. You're right. Like that, a bit of self-punishment to make you a bit stronger, to make you know what pain is, so that you don't fear the pain, so that you can bring the pain.
Yes. Because if he does that to himself, imagine what he does to his enemies. So, I don't know. I kind of like that. I really want to play this character now.
Yeah. What are you doing for like the next 3 hours after we're done here?
I am driving to my hometown, and that's gonna be fun.
That'll be a thing. Okay, so I think that as your DM, I would definitely allow you to use this. Quarterstaffs are a monk weapon. Special property makes it quarterstaff. Done. I'm sold. And I just want to see you twirl the stick around and shoot someone behind you. You know, like Rafiki, where he's like bopping the dude behind him, and then he turns it around and he bops the hyena in front of him. I don't know why I've gotten to Lion King as a point of reference today, but that's where I'm at.
He knows how to use that quarterstaff. That's why. Doesn't matter where it is. You can draw inspiration from anywhere, even if it's not setting appropriate.
Yeah, this is true. I love like just meshing together things I think are cool.
What do you got going on over there with your
Okay, so I've been looking at these witches. They get proficiency in the saving throws of charisma and wisdom. They are stealthy casters with hex abilities, which is super cool. And so I'm gonna go. I think mostly I'm gonna obviously stat drop on strength. I see absolutely no reason why this witch would need strength. So that will get one of my 11s just straight off the bat. Don't need it. And then obviously I can't remember if it was the wisdom or the charisma that's her casting modifier. I think it's the charisma is her casting modifier. So charisma is going to get my 14, which is my highest score. And then probably 12 in dex, because you know, if you're stealthy, even if you've got abilities to enhance that, I think it's still good that you want to be quick, you want to be nimble, you want to be in and out of the shadows.
Yeah.
It gives you cover, gives you options. And then, oh, sorry, no, 10 is my dump stat. I just seen I've got 10. So 10 for strength. 11 will be my con. I don't need her to be super high in constitution. I like squishy casters. I like the risk of it. I like the fun of it. And I like the idea of her having this high charisma, high wisdom, relatively high intelligence. I'm hoping I can bump it with a race choice to give her a little bit more intelligence, a little bit more study, a little bit more know-how. Yeah. And looking at the subclass itself, if I go back over to Dark Matter, scroll to my Lunar Witch. So yeah, you can find that witch base class on drive-through RPG if you look up. I think it's the Complete Witch. Yeah, Complete Witch from Mage Hand Press. So as a Lunar Witch, the moon is a potent symbol for many witches, especially those who are forced to practice their art incognito. To them, it represents a guiding light in the darkness, a confidant, a keeper of secrets, and a powerful link to natural forces that govern time and tide. Lunar witches are masters of night, shadowy, quiet, exceptionally difficult to pin down. And they gain spells. At first level witch spells, I get Fairy Fire and Sleep. And then third level witch spells, I would gain Dark Vision and Moonbeam. Which pretty cool combination of spells. And for the Lunar subclass, you get Hex, Lunacy as your third level. You gain the ability to drive people mad. As an action, choose one creature you see within 60 feet. Force them to make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, the creature suffers from one long-term madness effect, selected at random until the end of your next turn. This is so cool. I love bringing in these flavors, and you don't know what you're going to get out of it. That is really exciting to me. I do have a Remember Out of the Abyss and the Madness table vividly, and it's not nice when it's done to you. So you might not be popular if you PvP your teammates and make them temporarily insane with a long-term madness. And I love that they've shown the etymological relationship between lunacy and Luna, because that is true. The idea of the full moon driving you mad. Oh, I'm very excited by it.
As someone
and I get to be this. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, someone who has worked in the medical field for 19 years, more than half of that at hospitals, it is no bullshit. On the full moon, the ERs go crazy because people go crazy.
People do go crazy. And I'm just going to scroll down, and I'm going to read out the witch spell list. Or some of it, because it is a very extensive spell list, and much like a wizard spell list. You get a lot of cantrips and then a lot of spells all the way through, which is going to be really great for giving you the flavor that you want and focusing in on, you know, creating the flavor of which you want. Because they do have that natural link, but they've also got a lot of this madness link going on. And I like the idea of being this caster who is incognito, who wants to do, you know, subtle casting, doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want to be called out, especially in a tech world. And I like the idea of using one of the base variant backgrounds and going spy, being that stowaway spy, the diplomat undercover. I think that would be very fun, especially for a charisma caster.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'm trying to. There is a list somewhere of all the special spells, and I can't find it right now, but it is in here. I have to say, the PDF is actually really well bookmarked, which makes things easy, but there is also a lot in here to scroll through. So what did you have left for your monk? Did you have some more gear to pick out?
I mean, it's the other reason I like a monk is you don't really need anything, like, at all.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need weapons technically. You don't need armor technically. You are a self-sufficient character. But this is dark matter, and there are a lot of weapons. There's a lot of gear. It's crazy. So just kind of scrolling through here, I might pick up an antimatter dagger if possible, just because it's fun to have like a.
So I have a question. Do the dark matter monks get access to blaster guns?
I don't believe so. That is not.
That'd be cool. I mean, you can always use a weapon without proficiency. It just doesn't necessarily roll very well for you.
No, you don't. But I mean, I don't know. I got that sun staff, so I mean that's kind of like a blaster rifle. So, but the thing is, what I do like about it though is,
not to be sniffed at.
Oh no, not at all. And if somebody takes it away because of an Avira and I get Sacred Flame as a cantrip, I still have a ranged attack. Even if so, like this is probably one of the better because I've never actually played a Sun Soul monk, so having like a ranged blaster monk, but at least having a ranged attack, because that's always, that's the one thing that you need. You want to have a ranged attack, some kind of. I usually just do daggers. Have a few daggers to throw. But other than that, just using your mobility to close the distance.
I mean, sometimes there are those monsters that you don't want to be close to, like oozes. Sometimes you don't want to be right in there, and you really want a ranged option that isn't throwing your dagger that you're never going to get back because it's gone into the ooze. Goodbye, dear friend.
Melted away. Yes. Goodbye, dagger, my old.
It sucks when you go into a fight and it's the fight that your DM has built so that you can't do what you normally do, and you're like, well, what do I do? And now you've got a ranged blaster weapon.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to work on all monsters still, but.
Yeah. Quick story from second edition. I had very early third edition. I had the old Boots of Striding and Springing, which were insane with a monk. Okay. Go back and read them. It's insane until they kind of retconned it in 3.5. Or excuse me, nerfed it in 3.5. But I had these Boots of Striding and Springing and an amazing bow, and I basically could run nearly a football field, like in a round, and then just with my arrows until the enemy got too close, and then flash over here. So he wanted to take the boots away, so he threw like a bunch of black puddings at me, and I lost all of my gear except the boots. That's the only magic item that I had that survived their saves, and he was so pissed.
But, I always have this image in my head. When people max out their monk speed, so they've got the tabaxi, they've thrown in a mobile feat, they've got all of the things above their speed. I imagine them racing a ranger arrow just through the space, because they can move as fast as that arrow. And I always think that's a really cool image. The idea of, the teammates working together where you've got that ranger and you've got this melee class just coming out like a bolt from the dark.
Yep. It's why I love monks so much. It's just, it's to me, it's terrifying to have someone who just runs at you like that with that kind of blinding speed where when they take off and you're like, wait, where'd they go? And then they're in your face. I mean, that's what's more terrifying than that. And
especially when it's this self-flagellating Birdman.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely got like a scar. He's got like a scar over one eye. Maybe a few chips out of his beak. He took a beating from the master and was sent on his way for something. That's why I like he has deception as a skill. Whether or not it's the classic, like the pupil seeking for more power than they need, which I think that's, or just maybe like delusions of grandeur. I'm the sun's chosen, and you're just holding me back, master. I kind of like that, actually.
Yeah, I really like that idea. And I think as well, when you are in exile, you don't necessarily want everyone to know that. So having a deception skill is really going to help you kind of keep things out of people's way. You know, when you go to the space station, you need to stock up on supplies, and there's a group of Aviara, and you don't want to tell them that you're, you know, yes, you're the exiled one who blew up the moon and sent us 4 or whatever. But yeah, that was me.
Excommunicated. Yes. I am the excommunicator.
Flounder of the 12 asks, does the eye with the scar not open anymore? I like that.
I mean, that would be a thing where I would totally do that if the DM was cool with it and it was just an aesthetic thing.
Yeah, not gonna affect your actual perception.
Yeah, they're like, well, yeah, but your dex is working at half for ranged or something like that.
You know what would be really cool? Because this is dark matter and you can do like constructy things, is if you actually got like a glowing glass bead in there that, you know, it's like the Terminator eyeball.
Oh, like a cybernetic eye?
Up your perception. Yeah, like a cybernetic eye, but give it like the Aviara flavor of a glowing crystal.
Oh yeah, like an orb.
Maybe like
totally. He does. Oh no, he's got a burning, radiant, orange, glowing orb of an eye. Maybe he has like
maybe he keeps it like shut some of the time, and so it looks like he's lost the eye. And then when he opens it, you know you're in big trouble. You just see this ping.
I only open my eye when combat is about to ensue. Yeah,
when I need to see.
And that's when he casts Sacred Flame, it flares up from the eye, and you know.
Yes, that's the Eye of Truth. That's the Eye of, you know, Horus. If we're going to Egyptian places.
Yep, I love it. But like, just kind of reading through some of the other
points out, they do have crafts for that. There's tons of stuff.
Yeah. But just kind of reading through some of the other abilities for this subclass is just nuts. Like, you know, at 6th level, you spend 2 key points and you can cast Levitate. So that's fun. And you can't lose concentration on this spell as a result of taking damage. Think about that. So while you're levitating, you levitate up, like I need to go up this shaft. You levitate up as far as you want to go, and then you can still use your 3rd level ability and run on the wall if you want it. Now my thing is like, could you run up the wall and then levitate away from it, since that is your point of mass? Or
the way I would rule that is you would basically soft fall at that point down to the levitating height, which is equally useful. And you would probably have arguments with your player / DM over what angle trajectory am I descending? Can I move this far? But yeah, that's how I would generally rule it with levitate, is you descend down to wherever the levitation height is, which I think is about 1 foot, 2 foot.
Yeah. But what I love about the Way of Gravity is their higher level abilities are very battlefield control, AoE oriented, and that's something you don't really see. So like, you spend a key point, you create an invisible 10-foot diameter sphere of gravitational distortion within 60 feet. Creature enters the space, its movement stops. At the beginning of each of its turns, it's got to make a strength saving throw to get out of that field, or using half its movement and escaping on a success. Failed save, it can't move. A projectile that passes through your distortion field is stopped instantly in midair. So I would be putting that to cover my back, so nobody can come up behind me and shoot me in the back while I'm fighting. Like, you could totally lock down a hallway that way, or something. You know, I mean, just off the top of my head. And then the 17th level Singularity Strike, where your attack carries massive fields in their wake. When you hit a creature with 2 or more unarmed strikes on your turn, you form a gravity field around it. Until the beginning of your next turn, the creature can't willingly move unless it first uses disengage and spends half its movement to escape the field. So you're talking about locking people down. I mean, I'm sorry, I would be doing this because there's no key investment on that, but I would also be stunning striking them. So you run through the field first off, stun lock people, and lock them gravitationally, and they're just waiting for your party to come along in your wake and just finish everyone off. I mean, it's I'm just
imagining if you were to say have a moment where your crew finds themselves in like 1960s. We do the crossover, so they go to 1960s Earth, and they have an incident with the military there. It is literally a classic encounter scenario where the military people will be like, we couldn't move. They descended from the skies and they wiped us out. Is that story right there? And it's brought through from this class ability. It's
Yep.
just it's creepy and cool.
Yep. And just in traditional monk fashion, there's no technology involved. There's no magic involved. This is just you aligning your chi and implementing it and enforcing it on the world at large. I love it. So I've talked enough. What's
You know what?
What do you got?
I was just thinking about my witch. I think I want to make her a Rothian. I think I want to, because that like a Rothian spy. That's talking to me. They look so evil. Is the thing about them, and I like the idea that they have like a normal society beyond that to some degree. And that you could have turncloaks within that society is interesting to me, because I just like, we were just discussing this in chat actually. We like how it's not all, you know, Star Trek-esque half human type aliens. There are a lot of really weird aliens that are in the Dark Matter source text, and the Rothians are super cool insect aliens, and I'm about that.
Oh no!
So
a Rothian witch. I mean, come on. That's just creepy.
Right? It's just
in every sense of the word.
It's just primal and creepy.
Like
and they're described as the imperfect rogue, which is really cool.
You're you're like a crazy space alien hag. I mean, come on.
So I don't get the intelligence increase I was looking for, but I do get a dex increase and a charisma increase. So if I rejuggled my stats, bearing that in mind, I could still have the relatively, you know, good intelligence score I was looking for, because I could just bump the 12 up to a 14 and put the 14 in intelligence if I wanted to. You know, just play those little min-maxy games to get what I want out of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. That is the beautiful, nice little numbers game of D&D. You know, I mean, are you going for being as widespread in what you can do? I mean, do you want to be able to do a lot of things? Do you want to just focus in on the main thing your class does? I don't know. It's I used to be
the other reason
uber
I
power gamer, but not anymore.
The other reason I thought like Rothian would be super creepy is that telepathy. That telepathy combined with that lunacy hex, like you just whisper into their minds and you take them to the darkest place in the universe. And
while you're
that is
in the
just
corner. Yeah,
while you're in the corner watching from the shadows. Like how spooky is that? How you know, that is some dark space. I really want to play another gritty dark space. I want to play it as like a campaign. I think I'm ready for dark space campaign. I'm ready for that. I feel like.
Well, and also with the Rothian, just the whole feel of the witch and having their neural lock ability, like where you can like freeze someone in place. That's, I mean, come on, that's just creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like that's a solid character concept.
And then it's kind of like, if my magic doesn't get you, I just loom out of these shadows, reveal what I am, and then I bite you with my razor teeth. Like, the mandibles come in and they just come to crush you. The unfortunate thing is it is strength-based, and the character is dex-based, but worst case scenario, you're trapped in a corner, that nat 20 can always happen. Like, that's always an option. And this is where you play in a party. Then your monk comes out from the dark as well, and it's game on.
Oh, most definitely. And well, besides, I mean, that's the thing is, if you're coming out of the shadows with the razor teeth, you know, you if you attack from unawares, you're at least probably going to get advantage on that. So
that's true. You just drop this bite like a vampire, just get them in the neck from behind.
You're a psychic vampire. I mean, you technically are. That's how they freaking sustain. They sustain themselves on psychic energy. So you are kind of a psychic vampire. So
yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about the character, not me. Okay. Oh, close.
Well, we're all psychic vampires, Charlie.
We are all psychic vampires.
Everybody sees.
I get dark vision.
That's all that is.
Yeah. Well, I think that is all we have time for. We've gone to the full hour. Normally we aim for 45 minutes and we usually drift past it. But yeah, we've been here for an hour.
Oh my god.
I'm really excited about our characters. What are you going to call your character? I think we need to decide this. Before we say goodbye, for the episode, what are we gonna call it? There are helpful flavor suggestions in the PDF.
I know. I'm just. This is where my brain I like something I want something with the sun like soul, Egyptian, SETI, soul SETI. Ooh, I like that. The setting sun. Soul. Yeah, something soul SETI or SETI soul. Let the chat decide. Some version of that. I like the setting sun.
Let the chat decide.
Oh shit! And he's gonna be like Monkey McMonk face. No.
Well, chat.
Do nowadays?
Yes, that is what people do. Chat, you can decide because I will be uploading these character sheets onto the Encounter Roleplay website very soon. I will tweet out and I will try and make sure that the Encounter Roleplay account also tweets out so that you know they are available. And you can rename these characters to whatever you like. If you do play them, though, make sure to tell us because we want to know about it. Why don't we do that giveaway right now? I can't be bothered to cut to the tunnel. I want to do this live in action.
Do it live.
Do it live. Worry about it later. Because I enjoy giving away these tabletop loot dice. They're good and they help you roll up awesome monk characters. All right, resetting.
Picture. I'll snap a picture and send it to you, Charlie, so you have my character.
Thank you very much. And thank you as well to Matron Press for this wonderful deep dive. As you can tell, there is so much here that we would happily keep talking for hours. We haven't even touched that you can build your own spaceship. We haven't touched the crafts, magical items, the monsters, all of the other classes. There's a lot here, and it's chock-a-block. It would be a great birthday gift for anyone who loves 5e, is looking for some new flavors, and is also a sci-fi fan. Because they don't have to learn a new role set. So that's !loot in chat for your chance to win some tabletop loot dice.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the huge advantage is these are just extra options to slap on the rule set you already know.
And you could just take a regular bard into space. There's absolutely no reason why not.
Yeah, College of Lore. I mean,
space is weird. It all exists.
Yeah, if anything, you just take technology as a skill or data. That could be literally the only thing you choose from this book, and it would still work with characters from this book.
Yeah. And you could take the campaign you currently have, throw them through a planescape door, and out they come on a ship, and the ship is in space. And it's a whole new playing field. That'd be super exciting. To throw people who are used to that medieval world into a spaceship and just send them out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could use the name of an NPC for my game because it's basically Icarus as a palindrome, and it was the name of Akari Soraki. That's very.
That I like a lot. That is so perfect. Done. If you don't mind, done. All right, you have another 30 seconds to get in here. ! Loot. Win yourself some dice. They will go very well with the Dark Matter Alpha. This is only the Alpha as well. They're still tweaking. They're working on it. The full release will be coming up. So keep an eye out for that. And you automatically get those updates if you order on Drive-Thru Roleplay. RPG. I keep calling it Roleplay.
Well, I mean, if you say game, I mean, it's basically, that's what it is.
Yeah,
right?
Really there. Yes. Ooh, dice. Quick. ! Loot. Quick. Hustle. Quick. All right.
Do it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to pick that winner. Flounder of the 12, congratulations. You are our winner, our second winner. Make sure you talk in chat so we can get that info. Encounter Roleplay will be in contact with you about your dice. That was so much fun. I wish we could just keep hanging out and keep talking. It's always a great time with you, Prit. But where can we find you? What do you do? And all that fun stuff.
Well, I'm one half of WebDM. We have our informational and advice videos on Wednesdays. This last week was a especially good video, basically a video of the social contract that we all agree upon when playing a game or just doing anything with people in life is what I love about this particular video. Is it's not necessarily only about gaming. It's about life. So don't be a dick.
Mhm.
It's basically the basics of it. But we also have games that we
golden
play
rule.
on our Twitch channel. Got my Starward Bound, Spelljammer inspired game on Tuesdays. We got Unearthly Twilights on Wednesday, and Jim's Dark Sun inspired campaign, Land Between Two Rivers, on Thursday. We also have not this weekend, but next weekend will be our next episode of RPGN with the incomparable Laugh Love Lindy. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully we can cover some fun stuff that happened in the Warhammer game. Don't know. But also play a few games here on Encounter Roleplay, as people will know, Call of Cthulhu and Warhammer. But yeah, all around doing one shots and stuff. And thanks for having me on. This was such a blast. And like literally, I was completely caught off guard by the time. Like you were like, it's 5 o'clock. I'm like, wait, what?
I know. I looked down. I looked down. I was like, oh.
No,
I'm just
no.
very quickly looking up our wonderful two-shot, which was just using the Kickstarter material. We had
Mhm.
the best time. I think it's the funniest game I've played in all year, and I hope that we can do it again in the future because it was awesome. And
Yeah, most
I miss
definitely.
Trinity. I think I did that link wrong. There we go. That link will be right.
Yeah. I would probably bring this. I'd probably bring this guy in. It just looks like too much fun.
Yeah, I want to play on a crew with I forget already how you told me to say it, but with your Icarus monk.
Arisaraki.
And I want to play my insect witch, and I want to play Trinity again, and I want to make Rigel because I think we need Rigel in combination with these characters would be brilliant.
I think that these characters would kill Rigel in a week.
That's probably true. It'd be like a dark heresy, and we find the Xeno we don't want and we remove it. But this has been so much fun. Thank you so much to Encounter Roleplay for letting me do roll up. I've had the best time. I hope we can hopefully come back in the future and dive into some more of these wonderful expansions, games, characters. Because it's always inspiring to me to get to talk to some of my favorite role players about how they make characters and about how we play these games. So thank you very much for joining me. And thank you, chat, for being here. Hopefully see you in the new year. Have a wonderful holiday season. Stay safe. Try not to roll too many nat ones because we want to be there laughing when you do.